Hello and welcome to Jordan Recommends. Today I'm going to be taking you back to the past to watch an awesome show that's a blast. We're going back to the 80s on this one. Back in 1985, the Walt Disney Company's newly created TV division premiered two shows. One that lasted 13 episodes and would fall into obscurity, and the other one which would lead to the creation of a lot of the other more popular shows and one of the most successful and popular TV blocks in history. Today I'm going to be talking about Disney's Adventures of Gummi Bears. It's about a group of bears that live in the kingdom of Dunwin and the many adventures they get themselves into. Now it's time for the character roll call. First up is Gruffy Gummi, who is the leader of the group and is a skilled carpenter and mechanic, and is always telling the other bears that they're not doing things the Gummi way. And he's also rough around the edges and tends to butt heads with the other gummies. Next up is Zummy Gummi, who's like the father of the group, and he's also a wizard, and he's the one who keeps track of the Gummi history. And he has a tendency to mix up his words and have his spells backfire on him. The next one is Grammy Gummi. She's the mother of the group, and she's also the only one who knows how to make their gummy berry juice, which when a gummy bear drinks it, it makes them super bouncy, which allows them to escape from some very sticky situations and bounce here, there, and everywhere. And then comes Cubby Gummi. He's the youngest of the group and is very curious and adventurous, and his dream is to become a famous knight. And then there's Tummy Gummi, who is almost always thinking about food. He is also very skilled at making models, and he tends to be the comic relief. And the last of the main gummies is Sunny Gummi, who's the preteen and doesn't like being treated like a kid, but she'll avoid taking responsibility as much as she can, and she's constantly trying to modernize the bears to do things like how they do it in the castle. And then now we move on to the human characters. First up is Kevin, who's a young squire who discovers the gummy bears, and his dream is to become a knight, and he tends to hang around with Cubby, and it's also implied that he has a crush on the princess. And he's the one that ends up giving them the Gummi medallion, which unlocks one of the most powerful Gummi artifacts, which is the Great Book, which has all the Gummi secrets and Gummi magic inside. The next human character will be Princess Kala, who is the daughter of King Gregor, and is very high-spirited, and she also is adventurous as well, and detests her princess duties because she wants to be more proactive in the castle's defenses. She's also a good friend with Sunny Gummi, and they usually hang out. Kala teaches Sunny human culture, while Sunny teaches Kala Gummi culture. And then is the main villain of the show, Duke Igthorn, whose main goals are to capture the gummy bears so then they can make him gummy berry juice, because when a human drinks it, it gives them super strength, and to overthrow King Gregor's and take over Dunwin, using his army of ogres from his base in the kingdom of Drekmore, which is pretty much a wasteland, where he comes up with his evil schemes. He usually comes close to completing his objective, but is usually stopped at the last minute by the gummies, and sometimes with help from Kala and Kevin. Duke Igthorn's his right-hand ogre would be Toadwort, but they usually call him Toady. He's the smallest of the ogres, but is also the smartest, and he's the one that knows how to read and write. And he usually sucks up to Duke Igthorn as much as he can. Then there are the two soldier ogres, who are the only soldier ogres that actually have names, which would be Gad and Zook, and they're kind of like comic relief. Since usually the ogres are dumb, a lot of times the gummies escape from them by tricking them. And when Igthorn gives them a command, they usually respond, "Okie dokie dookie," which then he'll respond, "Don't call me Dookie." The show created quite an interesting history. In a few episodes, they go into detail about why there are so few gummy bears left. It was because hundreds of years ago, the humans got greedy and wanted gummies, magic, and inventions for themselves. So the gummies fled and sailed across the ocean to settle new lands, while only a few stayed behind for when it would be safe for the others to come back. The writing for the show was quite good, and a lot of the writers would go on to work on other Disney shows and other popular shows as well. Tad Stones, one of the writers who joined in the third season, would later go on to co-create Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck. The show has one of the catchiest theme songs you'll ever hear. It's definitely iPod worthy. Animation is really good and is a lot better than a lot of other shows to come out during that time period. If it wasn't for the success of Gummy Bears, then shows like DuckTales and Chip and Dale probably wouldn't exist, and the Disney Afternoon probably wouldn't have existed either if Gummy Bears had been a failure. A lot of people forget about this show, but this show deserves to be remembered. When people think of great Disney cartoons, this should be one of the shows that they think of. Well, this has been Jordan Recommends. Till next time, see ya.